Good morning, directors. I now call to order this joint meeting of the San Joaquin Hills Transportation Corridor Agency and the Foothill Eastern Transportation Corridor Agency. We'll begin with the invocation led by Chair Heft and the Pledge of Allegiance led by Vice Chair Kelly. Please rise.
Good morning, everyone. Let's pray. Lord, thank you for the ability to gather here today. Thank you that we were able to get all the directors here today. And thank you, Lord, for our drivers on our roads. I pray that you protect them. And I thank you, Lord, for the decisions we're about to make today. And I think you guide us in those decisions. In your name, amen.
Amen.
Please join me in pledging to our flag. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Chair Heft, and thank you, Vice Chair Kelly. And now, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Chair Heft,
Here.
Director Connors, Director Grant, Director Hurt,
Here.
Director Federico, Director Otto,
Here.
Alternate Reynolds, Director Beal,
Here.
Director Bilodeau,
Present.
Alternate Jabbar, Alternate Wong,
Here.
Director Meeks,
Here.
Director Schnell,
Here.
Director Voits,
Here.
Chair Taylor,
Here.
Vice Chair Kelly,
Here.
Alternate Annis, Director Khan,
Here.
Vice Chair Penaloza, Director Wagner,
Finally.
Director Zhao. Mr. Chair, we have quorum on both boards.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Now we'll go on to public comments. Do we have any public comments?
There are no public comments.
Okay, thank you. We'll move on to the San Joaquin Hills consent calendar, items 1 through 3, 5, 7, and 9 through 10. Would any directors like to pull any of those items?
I'll move the consent calendar.
I have a motion by Vice Chair Kelly and a second by Director Wagner. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? None? It is unanimous. Okay, we'll go on to the Foothill Eastern consent calendar, items 1 and 2, 4, 6, and 8 through 10. Any
I'll
polling?
second that, move that.
Okay, we have a motion by Director Wagner, second by Director Voits, and Alternate Wong wants to abstain from this because she wasn't here for the minutes on that one.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Seeing none, that is unanimous. Okay. Now we'll go on to our business items. Items number 11 through 13. First, we'll do item number 11, employment agreement for Chief Executive Officer Ryan Chamberlain. Excuse me. This item will be presented to the agencies by Employment Counsel Kevin Dale. Morning, Kevin.
Good morning, board chairs, board members, and staff. My name's Kevin Dale, and I'm from the law firm of Atkinson Andelson, and my firm serves as labor and employment counsel to the agencies. Before you this morning is the employment agreement for the CEO. By way of background, the CEO, Ryan Chamberlain, was initially employed by the agencies for a term that commenced on August 28th of 2023. And following his initial year of employment, Mr. Chamberlain received a positive performance evaluation for that first year. On August 8th, the boards designated the board chairs and myself as the negotiators to negotiate with Mr. Chamberlain regarding a new employment agreement. On August 8th and September 12th, the boards met in closed session, conferred, and provided authority to the negotiators with regard to those conversations. The negotiation team had a few meetings with Mr. Chamberlain. There were several discussions, and ultimately a new agreement was prepared. So consistent with the direction received, before you is an agreement that has some terms, and I will just basically summarize the most key terms to you. The term of the agreement is proposed to be September 1 of 2024 through August 31 of 2029. The annual base salary is proposed to be $319,138. That'd be effective on September 1 of 2024. The employment agreement contains a comprehensive annual leave of 31 days, administrative leave of 5 days per year to attend to agency business and activities, a deferred compensation of $31,000, which is a carryover from the existing agreement, an additional deferred compensation amount that would allow it up to a 2% match of contributions that the CEO makes to a deferred compensation plan. The term also includes a merit bonus potential of up to 5% of gross salary. For purposes of the current agreement, that amount is $15,125. The agreement includes an automobile allowance of $900 per month and a life insurance term of $500,000 and health insurance that has payment of the full premium for the CEO and his dependents. So at this time, it is recommended that the board provide authority to the board chairs to enter into a new employment agreement that will continue employment of the CEO as set forth in the agreement. And if there's any questions, I'm happy to entertain them.
Directors, if you have any questions, please use your little device in front of you. Okay, seeing none, we'll start with the San Joaquin Hills Transportation Agency. I'll ask for a motion in a second.
I'll make the motion.
We have a motion by Director Otto and a second by Director Grant.
I have a speaker.
Pardon me? Oh, we have a speaker.
Oh.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
That's okay.
Vice Chair Kelly.
That's all right.
I didn't show up, took a
I
few minutes here.
wasn't quick enough on my button. I just would like to say that I truly appreciate and commend CEO Chamberlain. I think we're very fortunate to have his leadership on this board, and I go on record as fully supporting the contract.
Thank you, Vice Chair Kelly.
And if we would like a motion, I'll make a motion for Foothill. We have one for San Joaquin, so.
Okay, we have, well, why don't we do that now? We'll do, is there a second for the Foothill Board? Director Schnell will second for the Foothill Board. Okay, so now we'll go ahead and we'll have San Joaquin Hills vote first. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, that's unanimous. And then we'll go to Foothill Eastern. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Very good. Thank you very much. Now we'll go on to, and thank you very much, Mr. Dale, for all your work, and congratulations, and thank you for the great job you're doing for this agency, CEO Ryan. Okay, and now we'll go on to our next item, number 12, State Legislative Advocacy Services Contract, and this will be presented by our Director of Legislative and Government Affairs, Sean McReynolds. Maybe please have your report.
Thank you, Chair, and good morning, Directors. Sean McReynolds, Director of Legislative and Government Affairs, here to present item number 12, which is the State Legislative Advocacy Services Contract. Just a quick background on where we are currently. TCA contracts with a state advocate to achieve its state legislative goals in Sacramento each year. Broadly speaking, the services and the scope of the work is inclusive of legislative monitoring and advocacy, administrative action, as well as representing TCA's interests, as well as the board-adopted legislative platform. The option year with the current advocate Nossaman was approved at the April 2024 board meeting, but with a modification with Mr. Solov, Nate Solov, who has been our lead advocate from Nossaman, breaking off and forming his own firm under Solov Advocacy, but remaining as the lead consultant as a sub, as well as Mr. Naylor with Naylor Advocacy also being retained as a sub-consultant as well. But given the changes at Nossaman, the board's also directed staff to issue a new request for proposals. And that RFP was issued on May 29th of this year. There were 9 firms that were notified, and the RFP was posted publicly on Planet Bids. There were 2 proposals that TCA received, the first from Solov Advocacy with Naylor Advocacy and Cruise Strategies listed as subconsultants, and another application from the Apex Group. So upon initial evaluation of both of those applications, both firms advanced to the interview phase where an evaluation committee was established that consisted of 2 TCA staff and 1 external evaluator with state legislative advocacy experience. Before I get into the scoring summary, I just wanted to highlight the evaluation criteria that was used when we identified and interviewed both of these candidates. I won't go into great detail on this slide, but I just wanted to list it here so that you have a sense of some of the things that we were looking at in terms of qualifications of both proposers. That includes the work plan, methodology, understanding of TCA's legislative needs, staffing capability, company management structure, and compensation. You'll see there the total points. If you add all of those up, that's 100 available points per evaluator. With 3 evaluators, there's 300 available total points for each applicant. So you'll see here the final scoring summary. You've got a detailed scoring included in the procurement summary report that's in the agenda packet. The Solov, Naylor, and Cruz strategies application scored 249 out of 300, and the Apex group scored 280 points out of a total available of 300. During the final evaluation, it was unanimous that the Apex group was scored highest, due primarily to their dedicated staff with extensive transportation knowledge and experience. This includes both legislative and state agency expertise as well. They also have a history of delivering positive results for their clients in Sacramento while having a very clearly defined legislative work plan and how they would best serve TCA moving forward. For those of you who are not aware with the Apex group, and actually Ms. Perrin and Mr. Fuentes are here in the audience today, I'll just quickly go over some of the key highlights of their resumes and their qualifications as they're being recommended today. Ms. Perrin, prior to her time with the Apex group, served as the Deputy Executive Director of Advocacy with Cal Cities, or the League of California Cities, where she led legislative efforts on behalf of that association, including their committee work, leading their in-house lobbyists, and directing their policies. Prior to that, she also served as the Legislative Deputy Secretary at the State Transportation Agency, as well as the Legislative Director at Caltrans. So you'll see there quite extensive experience in terms of her transportation knowledge and expertise. And you also may be familiar with Mr. Fuentes, Felipe Fuentes, former Assembly member for the 39th Assembly District from 2007 to 2012, where he served on both the Appropriations Committee and the Budget Committee. He's well known as having a strong bipartisan relationships throughout the state, and I would say that it was clear that in their application that both Ms. Perrin and Mr. Fuentes are considered CTC experts as it relates to their existing work with their clients in navigating the California Transportation Commission. I thought it would be helpful just to outline the proposed contract value that this is reflective of a negotiated rate with the Apex group after they were unanimously selected as the highest ranking firm. You'll see there a monthly retainer of $10,000 per month for years 1 through 3. The option years include a modest step up there, which you'll see at $11,250 for year 4 and $12,500 for year 5. The annual reimbursable expenses would come out to $3,000 per year, with an average annual cost, and this is including the option years, of $132,000 per year. Just to put into perspective, with our current annual contract with Nosman, which is currently a $15,000 per month retainer, we're seeing a significant reduction of cost for the agencies as part of this recommendation. So summary of those findings, the recommendation is to enter into a contract with the Apex group. I mentioned the $50,000 annual reduction of costs, but it was of the opinion of the evaluation committee that the reduction in costs would not negatively reflect any jeopardization of TCA's representation in Sacramento. I feel confident that Apex would represent TCA well. So moving on to the board recommendation for San Joaquin Hills. The recommendation is to authorize the CEO to execute contract number K001531 with the Apex Group to provide state legislative advocacy services for a 3-year term with 2 one-year options with a total not to exceed amount of $290,250 for services and $6,750 for expenses. It would also, the secondary recommendation would be to authorize the CEO to reallocate the aggregate not to exceed costs for this contract number K001531 to each agency as determined annually based on reasonable assumptions and methodology. And similarly, for Foothill Eastern, the recommendation would be to authorize the CEO to execute contract number K001531 with the Apex Group to provide state advocacy services for a 3-year term with 2 one-year options, with a total not to exceed amount of $354,750 for services and $8,250 for expenses. It would also authorize the CEO to reallocate the aggregate not to exceed costs for contract number K001531 to each agency as determined annually based on reasonable assumptions and methodology. That concludes my presentation, and I'm available for any questions.
Director Wagner.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Let me begin with an apology to the board and the audience, and I don't know whether Mr. Director Voigt's told you this, but we were at the grand reopening of the Music jail facility for the sheriff's state-of-the-art, and apologies, we were running late with that. Director Chafee was with us as well. Let me, on behalf of both agencies, move staff recommendation. It is very, very well thought out. A lot of care was taken in putting it together and then vetting the very qualified proposers that we had. And I'm not only quite comfortable with the final selection, but do indeed move it. I do know, and I see in the audience, an old friend of mine from Sacramento, Mr. Fuentes. I can tell you he was the chair of the Appropriations Committee when I got there, and I was perhaps a pesky little burr under his saddle, such as it was, but at all times, he handled himself and his duties with professionality and was prepared for everything that came at him, and I have no doubt that he will show the same tenacity, and I know he carries the respect that I have for him up in Sacramento, and so let me welcome the Apex Group on board. I am quite satisfied that we will have exceptional service from them, and I want to thank staff for the great work in getting us to this position today. I urge everyone to support the board recommendation.
On behalf of Foothill Eastern, I'd like to second for Foothill.
And I will
Congratulations.
second for San Joaquin.
All right, very good. You guys are doing my job for me here. That's great. All right, then, thank you. Any other questions from directors or comments? Okay, hearing none, I will go ahead and ask for the San Joaquin Hills vote. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposition? Okay, that's unanimous. And then Foothill Eastern, all those in favor? Aye. And opposed? None? Okay, it's unanimous. Welcome to the Apex Group, and looking forward to working with you. And thank you, Mr. McReynolds. Okay, we'll go on to business item number 13. Insurance broker services. This item will be presented by Senior Director of Finance, Diana Honeywell. And may we please have that report.
Good morning, chairs and directors. I'm Diana Honeywell, and I am, again, the Senior Director of Finance, and I'm here to discuss insurance broker services. This item was presented at the Joint Finance and Investment Committee meeting on September 25th, and the committee unanimously recommended this item for approval. The bond indentures and best practices dictate that the agency's insurance requirements. The insurance broker assists in marketing, negotiating with insurance carriers on the agency's behalf to obtain favorable terms, conditions, and pricing for the agency's insurance policies. The specialized nature of the public entity insurance market has led to a history of very few bids for the insurance broker services RFP. Part of this has to do with the specific programs that fit the unique needs of TCA. Alliant has a large customer base, and over time, they've been able to build specialized insurance programs. And these programs bring together many insurance companies to share risk while offering TCA and other clients excellent coverage. Given this background is why Alliant has been so successful with TCA. In an effort to encourage competition, staff completed extensive outreach prior to the RFP issuance. We talked to several other agencies in California. As it turns out, most of the other agencies are using Alliant. We reached out to Marsh, who's Alliant's major national competitor, as well as smaller companies. And then the RFP was issued in July of 2024. And in spite of our best efforts and outreach, one firm submitted a proposal, and that was Alliant Insurance Services, and they received a 96 on the RFP evaluation. Because we only received one RFP response, we reached back out to the other firms that we had conducted initial outreach with in order to find out why they didn't submit a response. Most firms couldn't compete with Alliant's specialized insurance programs. Marsh, Alliant's major competitor, provides similar services in other parts of the country, but they weren't interested in proposing unless we were not happy with Alliant. And in order to explain why Alliant's major national competitor wasn't willing to respond to our RFP, let's talk a little bit about Alliant. So Alliant services a very specialized public entity market, and they offer high-quality programs. And Alliant has told us they're very proud of the work they do with TCA because there are complex insurance requirements, and they'd like us to remain a client. And in California alone, Alliant services all the counties in California, over 85% of the cities in California, and over 1,000 special district and public transit clients in California. So Alliant's initial proposal was lower than our current contract, and staff was able to further negotiate lower the cost by 4.3%. And this slide shows the fees for the proposed 3-year contract and the additional optional extensions. The year one negotiated fee is just over $20,000 or 15.4% lower than the current fee. Because we've historically only received one bid, we are recommending a longer contract term. And with this longer contract term, it'll allow us to lock in lower rates for a longer time frame. With that being said, the current contract is a 5-year contract, and the overall savings for the first 5 years of the proposed contract, as compared to our current 5-year contract, is nearly $40,000 or 6.3%. Even year 7 is lower than the current year's pricing. And although these fees are lower, as I've just discussed, staff wanted to ensure that the fees we're paying are relative to what other agencies are also paying. So staff contacted other local transportation agencies and conducted some benchmarking. And the results of this benchmarking were that services were in line with other transportation agencies, and the negotiated pricing was favorable as compared to other transportation agencies in the area. So with that, excuse me, the San Joaquin Hills Transportation Corridor Agency recommendation is that you authorize the CEO to execute contract K001519, a professional services contract with Alliant Services, Inc., to provide insurance broker services for the San Joaquin Hills Transportation Corridor Agency for a 3-year contract with two 2-year options. This is a fixed fee contract in the amount of $327,362. Also, it authorized the CEO to make additional changes deemed necessary and execute the future contract amendments within 10% or $32,737 of the contract value without further board action. Finally, authorize the CEO to reallocate the aggregate not to exceed costs for contract number K001519 to each agency as determined annually based on reasonable assumptions and methodology. The Foothill Eastern recommendation is the same as San Joaquin Hills with the exception of item number 1. The value is $515,703, and item number 2 is $51,570. Oh, sorry. And with that, I conclude my presentation, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Mr. Chair, on behalf of Foothill, I'd like to move the item because there's not a lot to talk about, but the fact is, thank you, staff, for doing a great job, and we're welcome Alliant back. We're fortunate to have them, I guess. Thank you.
Thank you for that motion, Director Voigt. I'll ask for a second, and then we have a couple of comments or
Second.
questions. And we-
Tricia Kelly, second.
And Vice Chair Kelly has a second. And then I'll go to Director Schnell for a question or comment.
Great, yeah, great. Thank you very much for the presentation. I actually do work in insurance, transactional risk insurance for private equity firms. Align is a good company. I know they are. So just a few questions. So what are the insurance services that providing? Are they doing benefits and P&C? Are they doing, again, everything? Or are they specifically targeting some insurance services?
They work to provide all of our insurance needs.
Okay.
So business interruption, liability insurance, all. yeah.
Okay. And then what's the total premium spend?
The total for both agencies
Yeah.
is $927,000 over, I'm sorry, that's for Alliance Services over the course of, if we were to exercise all the options available to us.
Right. I'm just trying to get a sense for like the fee in relation to the premium that's being spent. So do you know what the overall premium is?
I would need to get
Okay.
back to you with that information.
Okay, and then the other question I had is I'm looking at the delta, the $200,000 delta between what they're charging San Joaquin Hills and what they're charging Foothill. It's about $200,000, which is about 54% increase. So why is there such a difference? Are they doing 54% more work for Foothill? Are there more employees? Just trying to figure out why such a higher
Yeah,
fee.
so overall, Foothill is a larger system with more assets and revenue to protect. So that's the reason for the higher fee.
Okay, so I mean, are they doing 50% more work for that? I mean, I know there may be more employees or maybe more assets, but are they doing and servicing at a much higher level than San Joaquin Hills?
I would,
You would know.
let me
Okay.
have CFO Melanie.
Okay, great, thank you.
So just to go back to your first question on relative to the size of the program, we're paying for broker fees about 3% of the total size of the program.
Okay.
And then for your question as regards to the effort spent, yes, in fact, because of the size of the system and the amount of time they have to explain the systems to the insurers, and in these large insurance programs, they do put in additional effort related to Foothill.
Okay, all right, thank you very much.
Thank you. Vice Chair Kelly.
Yes, thank you. I just want to recognize the good work that was done here. It looks like you really went above and beyond trying to solicit other firms, and we don't see anything reduce in cost or price, and this is a reduction, so that's commendable, but also the fact that you were able to negotiate an additional 4.3% decrease, so cost savings there. So I just wanted to make sure everyone recognizes that, because that was also extra effort. And I will move this on behalf of San Joaquin.
Okay. So we have a motion by Vice Chair Kelly. Do I have a second from San Joaquin?
I'll second.
We have a second from Director Khan. And with that, we have a motion and a second for San Joaquin Hills. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? That's unanimous. And then we'll go to Foothill. We already have a motion and a second. And all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Yeah, that's also unanimous. Thank you very much for your report.
Thank you.
And now, Madam Clerk, are there any further public comments?
There are no public comments.
Okay. We'll go to our Chief Executive Officer's report.
Thank you, Chair. And first and foremost, I want to thank all of the directors for your continued trust you're providing in me and your support. I look forward to continue to serve the Board of Directors and the people we serve here in Orange County to continue to provide those benefits. I also want to thank staff for your continued support as well. Really appreciate the great team we have here at TCA. Moving on, last week, the Associated General Contractors of California held its annual Southern California Conference, which Stephanie Blanco, our Chief Capital Programs Officer, and I attended for one day of their event. Ms. Blanco did an outstanding job presenting the agency's fiscal year capital improvement plan and fielding questions related to our State Route 91 241 Express Lane Connector project. In addition to the presentation that Stephanie presented, we both were able to talk to contractors and transmission partners to gain additional insight into their thoughts on material and labor availability and associated costs, and continuing to talk about their forecasting for additional escalation that may be happening in outer years. Moving on this next item, I'm not expecting anything very scary or spooky. This is going to be my attempt as a joke. But TCA was asked by OCTA and RCTC to present an update on the 240 and 91 Express Connector project at an upcoming State Route 91 Advisory Committee meeting happening on Halloween Day at OCTA. That's the joke, obviously. For those that don't know, the SR 91 committee is made up of board members from Riverside County Transportation Commission, Orange County Transportation Authority, with ex officio members from Caltrans District 12 and District 8, along with San Bernardino County Transportation Authority as an ex officio member. We look forward to productive engagement with partner agency board members and sharing information and progress about this impressive project that TCA is trying to deliver. Last and certainly not least, I am very happy to share that TCA has been recognized with a Rose Award from the Orange County Taxpayers Association. This award is spotlighting the great work that the agencies are doing on the early bond paydown program. TCA will receive the award at the Orange County Taxpayers Annual Roses, Radishes, and Royalty Award event to be held on October 23rd. A big congratulations to our board members and TCA staff on this outstanding accomplishment. This concludes my updates. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, CEO Chamberlain. Now we'll go on to board chair reports. Chair Heff.
All right, thank you, Chair Taylor. First of all, thank you, everyone, for being able to be here this morning. I think we had some important things to discuss, including our CEO's compensation package. And I just, for one, want to say it's no secret that our organization has gone through a lot of ups and downs over the last couple of years. And I'm very confident that CEO Chamberlain has the wherewithal, the abilities, and just the right attitude to lead us into a strong future and to put us on a path to health again. And I think he's already shown that. And I just want to commend him because I know he's worked very hard to get us to where we are today. And I think it shows in the overall atmosphere and just health factor of our organization. So I want to give him a Thank you. And I'm also very pleased to see that we're receiving a rose and not a radish. Because I mean, I guess it's kind of a joke, but it is nice to receive a rose from OCTAC. So looking forward to that as well.
Thank you, Chair Heft. And then I would just like to comment as well about CEO Chamberlain. And I just want to thank all my colleagues for seeing the value of this gentleman and what he's brought to our agency. And if there's only one thing that you could work on, I would say your jokes, okay? So we'll get you on the next. All right, and with that, I'll now adjourn this meeting to, let's see, the next regularly scheduled meeting of the San Joaquin Hills Transportation Corridor Agency Board of Directors and the Foothill Eastern Transportation Agency Board of Directors will be held Thursday, November 14th, 2024 at 9:30 a.m. This meeting is adjourned.